Welcome to Race Talk, the
Thank you.
podcast with Karting Insiders. I'm your host, Omar Aswad, and I'm delighted to be joined by my good friend, Guy Williams. How are you, Guy?
Hey, everyone.
So, Guy, you've got 10 plus years of karting experience. You've got 1,000 plus races at Teamsport, Acton. But I think the biggest achievement that you've got is interviewing the guy who interviewed Pierre Gasly.
Whoa. Let's go. And this guy was so chill, right?
He's just a chill guy,
He's just
as we like to say. How was the experience coming over to Qatar for the F1?
A fantastic opportunity. Truly one of the nicest places I've been to do motorsports, just to hang out. Everyone over there is so incredibly kind. And of course, thank you to Omar for letting me come over with him. And honestly, the food is the main bit there, and amazing country. Guys, if you need to go somewhere to have a brilliant experience, go to Qatar. I've never been to the Middle East before, right, Omar? So it was the first time ever, and it was just amazing. Really nice place to go.
Well, that was, I think, the third or fourth time we met in real life. The first time was actually, was it Daytona Milton Keynes?
It was. So we have like an origin story, don't we? The diss, and then and then the connection. A couple of times on Race Talk, then we hit each other up on Instagram and said, listen, do you need a cameraman for the 24 Hours of Daytona?
That's it. I remember this not this time last year.
About that. Like,
you could say. After that, we did some, a track tour you took me on London, which was...
how did that go for you, Omar?
Which was spontaneous, let's say. You strategically picked the tracks out. And then we went over to, the F1, which is when you came over, and I gave you a track tour over here of all the indoor, outdoor tracks. We got to bring you back, though. We got to ask you the age-old question. How did you start karting?
How did I start karting? Well, this was back in, I believe, 2015 was the first time that I opened a Teamsport profile. For those who don't know, Teamsport Karting is the main kind of indoor karting provider over here in the UK. I unfortunately have the pleasure of working for them, but that's here, neither here nor there. I started 10 years ago today, 2015, and started actually in Cornwall at not a Teamsport track, but I started at the age of 6, which is a little bit longer ago. We won't count that. Going go-karting with my dad. My dad was trying to get me into it for ages. And I said, okay, let's just go. I was scared, but we went and did it. Full throttle down the main straight. This amazing track in Cornwall that I haven't been to since. I need to go to have this flyover and everything. I fly over the bridge, down the ramp, and straight into a barrier about 40 miles an hour. Wow, that's a brilliant first karting experience. And what happened there, for those who don't know, for the racing lore, the backstory is that I never went karting for another 2 years after that. So from about, I think it was probably about 2013, 2014, I started. I never went karting until about 2015. And then about 2 years later, I said, you know what? We're going to Docklands. Let's just try it. Let's just have a bit of fun. And as they like to say in the UK, sod it, we're going to go really quickly. And we just went really quickly. And I haven't looked back since, really. Yeah. And the way I know this almost 10 years now is that I got a message from Teamsport saying an email, just a regular thing. And everyone had there. Some people said, it's been so many days since you first experienced the rush of karting. So they gave you a big number. Everyone else was 100, 200, 200, 300, 400, 1,000. I had 2,800 days or something along those lines. I think it was 3,000 since I first. And I looked that up on the thing, and it's like, that's like 9.5 years ago.
Yeah. And
I haven't looked back since.
You've basically been loyal to Teamsport, which, as you said, the biggest indoor franchise. We've obviously got the picture of Acton behind you on your video.
There we go.
So, what is Teamsport, and what makes it so special to you?
So Teamsport for me is a second home more than anything. I've probably spent more time at Teamsport Acton than anywhere else in the world. It's a family, especially at the tracks you're local to. I find that at some outdoor tracks, there's so many different staff, it's hard to kind of build those connections with people. But at Acton, they've always been incredibly kind to me, even through my struggles when I was having a hard time with exams. They were there for me. They were a family, and at its core, Teamsport was a business. But for me, it's more than that. It's a home, a second home, a home away from home. And it's been an amazing journey. I remember starting off saying to this old guy called Jeremy, not an old guy, but an old staff member, saying, Jeremy, how do I get quicker? How do I go faster? And at this point, K-tips didn't even exist. Like, there was nowhere out there to help and support people. So
Really?
we had to find our own way. So I consider myself self-taught. But
And
now
that's a very interesting thing you touched on there, because a lot of people may feel the same. I know I felt the same when I started karting as well. Was it a natural inclination to go towards the experienced guys like the staff or the marshal for advice, or do you just do your own research, for example?
There was that drive to ask people who knew what they're doing. But the problem because I went to Teamsport Acton, which is electric track here, which opened in, I believe, 2014.
Yeah.
So only a year before I started, realistically. Now, Teamsport Acton was, in fact, my first track I went to, by the way.
Okay.
Then I went to Docklands, went fast, and then I came back to Acton because it's close to home. So this is the OG track. But to answer your question, was there an inclination to go to fast? No, there wasn't, but there wasn't anyone who was quick at Teamsport. At this point, Teamsport had about 10 locations. They're now 36, 37 in the UK, and they're 42 in Europe.
Yeah.
So there wasn't actually experienced drivers to help. We were all learning ourselves from the very get-go, if that kind of makes sense.
Yep.
So kind of coming into it, I was like, well, how do I improve? And it was just about trying something new, having a look at the lap times. Yeah, here we go. Having a look at the lap times and building up that exclusive Teamsport waft on the public sessions. Now, for me, I found it difficult because I couldn't do the members events. I was too young at that point. So, and I think this is why members public sessions have stuck to me. A little special place in my heart to do crazy things like that. Beautiful overset down the ramp, of course. Because a lot of people think members events are the ultimate test of skill, and I'm truly convinced if you want to become good at karting, you've got to do at least a couple of public sessions.
Agreed.
You've got to be able to have those reaction times, predicting people.
That's it.
All that. I mean, look at that. That was just beautiful. Perfect overtake. We're not going to talk about that there, guys. But yeah, honestly, if you want to get good at karting and you can't afford the members sessions, don't then quit out. Just keep doing public sessions. It's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Because every little bit of track time gives you experience, and Omar will be able to tell you this as well. But I think we had kind of the same sort of start to our karting career, Omar, me and you and I, because you started off with nowhere kind of direction, nor did I.
Just the passion,
It's just the passion, exactly.
Just the passion, turning up to public sessions.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you get to become a regular, you get to know more people, and then that just becomes a chain effect. Obviously, Acton is where you started. That's the track we're watching in the background.
Yeah.
How did it then evolve into doing Europe and then US tours?
So
all over the world.
I'm very grateful. My dad has supported me the entire way through my life, and but my most grateful thing is that he always helps with my passion. And he when I told him I want to really lock in with karting, he said, right, well then we got to go try the Europe tracks. They're the best in the world. So every summer, believe it or not, we still do it to this date. For about 6 years now, we've been going and driving from London all the way down through to Spain. This is actually one halfway down. This is in North.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is a Sodi electric track. This is back when the degree racing editing was not very good, so I do apologize for that. Still kind of learning, but I have to say this is one of my favorite tracks I've ever had. Not as a layout, but as the technology there. So you have the sector times on the screen. You have a bar that shows you how much boost you have. And then this is another track in France. And I tell you, the tracks in France are unreal. The design, the technology they have, the people. Because what I will say is you get a big variation in the skill issues, as I like to call them. In the UK, there are a lot more skill issues than Acton, so that's a very blowing. I want to switch to another one. But in Acton, there are lots and lots and lots of skill issues. In France, they're all decently good, believe it or not. I think that's because it's such a core aspect of Europe is motorsports, with being this. And then here is this is actually a good example. This is a member session. So this is a guy called Jürgen. He was one of the people who first taught me as we overtake him down the ramp here, and he's a really cool guy. So learning from all the locals, learning from all the people who are good at the track, and the way I got good at this track, and the way I actually got on the Nantes track leaderboard on the third day I ever went there, was asking the fastest drivers, how can I improve? What am I doing wrong?
There you go.
But
just
Europe,
to those guys.
Getting back to Europe, because I know that's what we're trying to focus on. The variation is what I love about Europe. the different types of tracks, different companies, the different karts, CRG karts, Centurions, Sodis, Biz karts, Sodi EcoVolts. There's hundreds. I mean, I remember there was a Sodi SR5 I drove in a place called Bordeaux. This thing hurt to ride because it was such a bumpy track, and because they set it up so it was really firm on the rear end. I don't know what it is, but like they had like set up to make it quicker, and there was this ramp, and you know what, someone actually get a little bit of airtime, then you fully jumped over this ramp. Like you got airtime. And you wouldn't get that in the UK. That wouldn't be allowed for safety reasons. But
health
in Europe,
safety.
Health and safety in Europe is optional. It's an optional extra.
It's optional, okay.
But one thing I will tell you, and Omar, you might know this from Vendome.
Yes.
Now these carts right here are just the base, and there's no upright support on the back here.
Yes.
In Europe, because of their laws, most of the carts indoors have an upright section here, and you have a seat belt. And do you know the reason why this is, Omar?
Is it when if they roll over?
Exactly. So if they flip and you're in one of these carts, you actually come out of the go-kart, and that prevents you from being crushed. But in the ones with the seatbelts, because you can't come out of the go-kart.
Correct.
You can't be crushed because there's like a roll bar, if that kind of makes sense. So the bit above your head, and that's the reason why. So it's just the variation is crazy. And what I will find, you find it's a lot more in Europe, is the unrestricted engines.
Right.
Ones that don't have an RPM limit. If you look at the Karting Oldenzaal footage I sent you, I'll send it once more in the thing.
Let's take a look at it.
These karts were 390cc, but they didn't have a rev limit. It's the latest link I've said. They didn't actually have a rev limit. There's only just one lap. So you could just go, and you're screaming down the straight. The revs are like crazy. And it is honestly, you can hear how much higher the revs are all the points. Do you hear how high the revs are at all times?
Look at that. Listen to that.
You're just screaming. And that makes it so interesting. And the amount of good drivers that come on in Europe are crazy. Like I had like a regional champion here. This guy won again back when Max Verstappen was a kid. It was crazy. He was old, but he won again. And also look at the track limits. Look at these track limits here.
So proper curbs.
Beautiful. No, there's no curbs. They have a lot of the tracks. See how it's like a little mesh on the outside?
Yeah.
And then they have a painted bit there.
Correct.
That you can see where the curbs are. But again, you see the upright rests. That's the whole seatbelt thing.
I guess it's a good chance to come into a YouTube comment here from Amin. Amin's asking, what's your favorite karting track in the UK and Qatar?
Ooh, I love High Wycombe.
High Wycombe.
So the way I separate these two questions are the favorite circuit and the favorite for racing.
Okay, sure.
For the actual circuit, High Wycombe is incredible. It is so technical. The down ramp is like a roller coaster. You go like, oh! You're like, hands up if you want to go fast and all that. But it's just an amazing track. I will say now, Teamsport cooked with that track. They said to the designers they'd let them cook, and they cooked. So honestly, if you are in the UK and you want to have the most amazing technical electric circuit, Teamsport High Wycombe. For my favourite racing circuit, the one most good for overtaking a racing, I think this might surprise a lot of people out there. Any track with banking, like Acton, like not Stoke, Eastleigh and Crawley. If you have banking, you can do my favourite manoeuvre, which a lot of people don't know, the slingshot manoeuvre, right?
Yeah.
You go round the outside and you send it on the boost button, basically, down the ramp. So my favourite track for overtaking I've ever been to was actually that one in Nantes. Because it had a bank corner down the ramp.
There you go.
So you went up the ramp, it banked really sharply, and you just slingshot and dive bomb people down the ramp. And that was the best track ever for overtaking. But my favourite track for the actual layout had to be in the world is Supercharged Entertainment, which we'll also get into a bit later, which is the largest go-karting track in the world, by the way.
Favourite track in Qatar to finish off?
Sorry. Vendome because I won, but realistically the Losail circuit was awesome.
Losail circuit, which is behind me, yeah? Losail circuit, you can't beat it.
But only in the road tax, though.
Yeah, you need to try the new cuts. You need to try the new rentals.
Are they good?
Try the new rentals. Yeah, they're good.
So they have the waft. Yeah, they've got the waft.
That's it. Honestly, it's great to hear that you've got so much experience, different tracks, different countries, different karts, and that sort of culminates to not only make you a good driver, but then pursue a path into coaching. How did your position at becoming academy race instructor come about?
So with Teamsport, they run a weekly session on Sunday mornings and Monday evenings. And this is not of an advert. This is explaining it to anyone who wants to come along as well.
Of course.
Every single Teamsport track have it. The quality, we're not going to talk about that, of different tracks, because of course it comes down to the experience of the instructor. The way I got the job was they said, oh my God, this guy is incredibly cracked at Acton. In you go. because and bear in mind, I've been asking for a job at Acton for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I think they knew, because I have so much experience. I'm not even good at outdoor tracks, but I'm so unbelievably cracked at this indoor track alone. I'm not saying for all the tracks, because I have so much experience here. I know every single patch of rubber on the track. Like, for instance, you see on this outside here, you think this is rubber. This is not. This is really slippery outside here. The grip's on the inside. It's like just the knowledge. They were like, in you go, mate. So, and that's, before that, I never really thought about coaching like you do, Omar.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding to watch a student that you teach
absolutely
improve. A good example of that, somebody comes on our track up sessions, Nathaniel, Sonny.
Yeah.
Two amazing examples. Sonny started just a couple of months ago. If I've got a slightly bad cart, I can't beat him. That's how good he is.
Wow.
Like, he will beat me in Acton if I've got a cart that's even if it's just a little bit off. And I pride myself on that, I'm like, I've taught him to do that. That's me, and that's him learning and taking on board the feedback. It's amazing. And honestly, guys, if you do get the opportunity to work as an instructor or coach in any field, it's the most rewarding job you'll ever have.
It brings us nicely on to Race Pace's question over on YouTube. He's asking, what are your future plans for karting?
Sonny, good to see you, my friend. Everyone subscribe to Race Pace 1 as well. He makes brilliant content at Acton, by the way. We all love a bit of Race Pace 1. And before I get on to the question, I will say this is the best way to see what my events, my member sessions are like at the Race Academy, because he posts those. Race is a very good question. My goal, and I don't think I've actually shared this with Omar yet. This is a new thing. I've been doing my TikTok live streams on TikTok, doing Kart Racing Pro. Nice. I had 200 viewers in last time I there at once.
Okay.
So
Kart Racing Pro is a game?
It's a kart game. It's a kart sim game.
Yeah.
Every single gift I achieve from that, so every bit of money that I get from that, has gone straight into a pot to fund a community road tax.
Oh, okay.
So it's essentially a road tax you can apply to use online. I'll find a website. And that they can use, of course, with some boundaries, but I'm not going to let them crash my road tax into a barrier. But do you know what I mean? Because so many people in the UK don't have a direction to go with karting. They don't know how to do it. So my goal is to become a brilliant coach, which I think I'm already succeeding at, and to provide opportunities for young aspiring drivers who maybe don't have the WAF funding. If you're in road tax, you know what that means. So if anyone is not in road tax, it means road tax is an incredibly expensive sport. Some people can spend up to £100,000 in a season.
Yep, agreed.
And it's very hard to get into. To have a road tax, maybe even a couple in the future, that people can practice in, just to gain that experience. Like Omar shared with me, I didn't break his cart. You didn't see that. That was a chain issue, not my problem. It's an amazing thing to have that opportunity. And once you step in a road tax cart, you're not going to go back. Tell them how fast it is.
That's very, very humble of you. And the fact that you're planning that initiative will keep people motivated to have a good level in rental carts, and then of course apply for whatever you set up in the future. We got to round off with some stories which you've collected over these years. You got to tell us at least a good story from.
Okay,
from
I've got a couple. If you don't mind, these quick ones. A couple of stories. Number one was when my dad broke his ribs at Preston.
How did that happen?
I'm getting onto that. So, he was wafting, as you do at Teamsport, podding a little bit as well. This guy is an interesting driver, let's put it that way. He's good. He overtook me a couple of times, by the way. He is a really good driver. He pods this random guy off just by accident. You can see it was like, oops, my mistake. Just not even like into a barrier, but just a little kind of pod. Off you go.
Yeah.
This guy comes back at him like this on the next corner. And he cracks both his ribs. And then that was about 4 years ago. 2 months later, so 3 years later, so a year ago, he cracked them again at Mitcham in the exact same situation. But this was different. So someone had spun out on the blind, fast, flat out right-hander. And he went to him straight into him.
That's crazy.
You know what's crazy about this though? My dad only does it a couple of times a year. I've been doing this for 10 years now. Not a single proper injury. Nothing.
Seems karting is not for him then.
No,
you're breaking ribs every time you go.
He's incredibly quick. He's really good, actually. There's a video on my channel of him overtaking me at Reading up the up ramp. I was not happy. And my favourite story is when I came to Qatar with Omar, my favourite friend over here.
All right.
And we went to Vendome. What happened to Vendome, Omar? Let's just say the carts are very unequal. Sorry. Let's just say that now.
I think we took some equal carts though. The tire, the battery. I'd say the battery more than anything.
Really? Oh yeah.
Remember the battery died.
I'm getting onto that. So my cart died before I could get a fast lap time in. But honestly, Omar, I'm not taking this victory. This was because I could tell those tires were waft on the cart you had. I beat Omar Aswat in his home track at Vendome. As for revenge for him, absolutely. Because bear in mind, you destroyed me at LaSalle and at Desert Falls.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm taking this competition, this story, isn't because of the overtaking the winning. The community spirit you can gather by just going and having loads of fun at go-karting with your mates, like Omar, like I do with Paolo, like we do with people around the world, is just get
and the
out
marshals
there.
that day, remember?
And they were cheering us on.
There's atmosphere there, yeah.
You've got to let me know, Omar. Am I still second ever on the leaderboard?
Last time I checked, you are. So I think that's quite an impressive.
There you go.
Now, bear in mind they don't give the Speed 4 for everyone because it's a fun track and all. But those who are serious, have tried, and nobody's got as low as 24.0, which he got.
It was an incredible experience, wasn't it?
I thought that was probably one of the best indoor races we've done.
It was amazing, wasn't it? It was so close because we were like behind each other, following each other.
It was. And then we were, discussing lines, and then
and kind of reviewing it after.
Exactly.
Having loads of fun, making too much noise on my behalf, as always.
It was F1 weekend, so
it was.
We were fresh from the track, or was it before?
No, it was before. It was before, and
was it before?
It was amazing though. And the F1, how was the F1, Omar? What do you think of that race in the sale?
I thought the access that we got on Saturday, where we were able to get into the paddock and then go to the top floor. Oh my gosh,
it was amazing, and the food.
Unbelievable. Not to mention hospitality and everything, but that view, you're in the middle of the track, you're on the roof.
I mean, see if I can pull up a picture, because that was amazing.
See everything.
You could just see everything, couldn't you?
Turn 1, turn 7,
brilliant.
turn 16, whatever.
I think we should start a petition, by the way, in the chat. We should start a petition, guys. Put yes if you want to make that little viewing platform we had open to the public, because that was absolutely incredible. The view. As you said, Omar, you could just see everything, couldn't you?
And if we got that on Friday, which would have the evening session when the sunset was there. Oh my gosh,
that would be incredible.
Later this year, hopefully. But
here's
got a photo.
Yeah, I've got the view. Honestly, guys, if you go to Qatar, do the F1. Go on an F1 weekend. But we got to give them one piece of advice, so don't we, Omar? The getting to the F1 tracks, though, hey. Actually, this is my final story. That Uber ride. This guy right here said to the Uber driver, 2-minute drive, mate. And we went round and round and round.
God, I actually feel sorry. But you know what? No. You know what? The receipt I got on Uber after that wiped the smile off my face. So let's just say that much.
Well, do you remember? I should give him a tip because in the UK, by the way, this is interesting. The Uber rate doesn't go up; it's set. So you just however long it takes, and you get a set price at the beginning. This thing goes up.
No, this goes up. Yeah. So just to give you some context, we're trying to get to the car park of the F1 track, and then it was a 2-minute ride. We end up missing a turning. We mess up in another turning, and then it just
as we like to call
doing laps. We're doing laps. Basically,
the taxi driver was taking incredibly suboptimal lines.
We're gonna have to round you off, guys, for for today to give you some context. Last year, me and Guy met at 24 Hours of Daytona. We did discuss that day that we're in the future going to do a 24 hours together where we're on the same team. So you want to stay tuned on Instagram, on YouTube for some upcoming announcements in the coming weeks. We hope.
Are they allowed to know which track it is?
Nothing's confirmed. So once it's confirmed, people are going to hopefully see. Definitely there's another 24 hours coming later this year, and it's going to be a special one. But until the next episode of Race Talk, guys, we will see you all then. Take care. Goodbye.